Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Like and subscribe to support me. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Yunxiao's eyes flickered as he said.
If we can really find it, we don't have to take it.
The demon dragon fell silent as he pondered over Yunxiao's words. Yunxiao closed the door again, so as not to disturb Yunxiang, and walked out. Since these rows of buildings were built above the dragon vein, there must be a place that was connected to the underground and could directly enter the dragon vein. Only in this way could he continuously use the positive yang qi, allowing these alchemists to produce the pills with twice the effort but half the result. Zhou Xiang, who was delivering the news in the southern part of the city, was extremely depressed at this moment. His entire body was tied up by a glittering golden rope, and he was completely unable to exert any strength. He had thought that it would be an extremely easy task, but now he understood why he had been assigned to do it. However, he still didn't understand why the man's face changed when he mentioned Mr. Yu. He had been in the skeleton mercenary group for so many years, but he had never heard of a person called Mr. Rain in the group. He couldn't help but be suspicious, and he scolded the intelligence department of the regiment. This Mr. Yu was obviously an important figure, or he wouldn't have received such treatment. Zhou Xiang mumbled in dissatisfaction.
Hey, I say, Wu Lei. We know each other, and although we don't have any friendship, we've never been on bad terms. I'm just here to deliver something on behalf of our captain. You don't have to treat me like this.
Wu Lei was a 9-stars martial emperor from the skeleton corps, and he captured Zhou Xiang with just one move. He looked at Zhou Xiang coldly and said,
I'll have to ask the higher-ups if I want to let you go or not.
He looked at the jade token and the blood in the vessel and said,
I will also hand in these 2 items. You can just wait here for your punishment.
He ordered his men to keep an eye on Zhou Xiang, and without looking back, he headed towards the headquarters of the skeleton mercenary corps. Zhou Xiang began to shout arrogantly, which quickly aroused the dissatisfaction of the guards. A group of people surrounded him and gave him a good beating before he became obedient. In a secret room in the headquarters of the skeleton mercenary group, Wu Lei reported the situation and handed over 2 things at the same time. A burly man sat on a throne. His entire body was shrouded in black, and his appearance could not be seen clearly. Beside the man stood a black-robed man. He was also extremely mysterious, and the aura on his body was extremely strange. It was as if there were no vital qi fluctuations at all, just like an ordinary person. However, what made Wu Lei extremely nervous was the black-robed man who did not have any yuan qi fluctuations. He was the most mysterious existence in the skeleton mercenary corps, Mr. Yu. He seemed to be even more terrifying than the captain, Shen Feng. Mr. Yu opened his hand, and the jade messenger token and the crystal container flew into his palm. He gently opened the jade token, and a weak divine sense immediately fluctuated, which he caught. He clenched his fist, and the jade token turned into powder and disappeared. Wu Lei's heart trembled. He seemed to feel a wave of anger spreading. He did not know why, but a wave of fear rose in his heart. He clearly could not feel any yuan qi or martial intent pressure, but it made him feel a chill. The burly man on the throne said,
What's wrong, Mr. Yu?
The black-robed man raised the crystal vessel and looked at it for a while. Then he said in a hoarse voice,
This is troublesome. Gu Yuesheng has indeed fallen into the hands of the rookie mercenary group.
Shen Feng said,
It's just Gu Yuesheng. It doesn't matter even if he dies. Master, there's no need to be angry.
Mr. Yu shook his head and said,
It was nothing at first. If he died, there wouldn't be any trouble. At most, we'd lose one of the immemorial heaven's eyes. The problem is that he's still alive. I brought him here. Do you know who his master is?
Shen Feng frowned.
Master? Aren't you his master?
Mr. Yu stared at the glassware and grabbed it hard. With a bang, it exploded. The drop of blood was caught in his hand, and he actually raised his head and swallowed it. Then, he licked his lips and said.
His master is a troublesome person that even I don't want to provoke. Have you heard of Crazy Jie? What? Was it that pervert? Isn't he already dead?
Shen Feng's voice was filled with shock as he reproached.
Since you're that person's disciple, why did you bring him to me? Now that something has happened, what should we do if that pervert comes to our door?
Wu Lei stood below, frowning. He had never heard of this crazy Jia before. He did not know which faction he was from, that even the regiment commander and Mr. Yu were afraid of him. Mr. Yu laughed weirdly and said.
I'm just interested in his immemorial heaven's eye and want to do this. That drop of blood just now was indeed the blood essence of the immemorial heavenly eye. It tasted delicious. Kiki.
Shen Feng snorted heavily and said in dissatisfaction.
The immemorial heaven's eye is an important treasure. If you snatch it, will that mad hero let you go? Although I know you're not afraid of him, you don't want to have a big trouble chasing after you every day, do you?
Mr. Yu said with a smile.
You're wrong, Shen Feng. Gu Yuesheng was just a test subject for that pervert. Do you think he would casually bestow such a treasure to a disciple? I know that person's temperament very well. The immemorial Heaven's Eye clan was a tribe that lived in groups. He must have found a tomb of an immemorial Heaven's Eye and obtained a certain number of Heaven's Eyes. That was why he was willing to use one of them on his disciple for an experiment. He definitely wouldn't make things difficult for me just because of a test subject.
Shen Feng asked.
If that's the case, then what do you mean by trouble is coming?
Mr. Yu's face turned cold, and he looked extremely ferocious in the dark. He said.
The messenger already knows Gu Yuesheng's identity. He said that if he doesn't cooperate with them, he will hand Gu Yuesheng over to the Sea of Soul Formation. If that's the case, that crazy hero will definitely go crazy and fight us to the death.
Shen Feng's anger surged and he said in a deep voice.
Cooperate with them? What are they doing?
Mr. Yu's face was also strange. The letter said that they were going to do something in the west of the city. They told us to be honest and not give them any trouble. Wu Lei was shocked and hurriedly said.
Not long ago, news came from the west of the city. It says that the rookie mercenary group has just taken up the position of a new captain of the 8th team. He's very young and his strength is mysterious. He had just captured Zhao Yu from the Storm mercenary group and said that the heroes' assembly would be held in 3 days. Could it be related to this matter?
Mr. Yu frowned and mumbled to himself.
The newly appointed brigade leader has mysterious and unpredictable abilities. Could he be the one who captured Gu Yuesheng?
Shen Feng asked.
3 days? Immediately go and find out the identity and information of this person. Don't let any clues slip by. Also, since they already know about Mr. Yu, Zhou Xiang should let him go.
Yes. Wu Lei hurriedly replied, bowed and retreated.
Mr. Yu, what are they doing? Ever since young Emperor Hao Lian's disappearance, the newbie mercenary group had been extremely low-key. Not only did they lose a lot of territory and businesses in the west, but they also lost a lot of businesses in the north. Why did he suddenly become so high-profile? Could it be Jinjin?
Shen Feng's heart trembled as he thought of a bad idea. He said in horror, could it be that young Emperor Hao Lian has broken through to the martial supreme realm and is back? Mr. Yu said.
Don't panic. With our current situation, we don't have to be afraid even if young Emperor Hao Lian really breaks through to the martial supreme realm. Moreover, the probability of such a situation was very low, and the people sent out had not sent back any news. Do you think that the 9 heavens will is so easy to break? I'm guessing that the newly appointed captain wants to do something to stabilize his position.
Shen Feng finally calmed down and said.
I hope so, teacher. When will you be done with that thing?
Mr. Yu scoffed.
I thought we'd be able to capture Hailin without a hitch, but that doesn't seem possible. I'm planning to go to the demon land to find the soul-splitting bone.
Shen Feng exclaimed.
Soul-breaking type spinal bone? That's a demonic beast that's close to the 9 heavens martial emperor realm.
Mr. Yu snorted.
So what if I'm a martial emperor in the 9 heavens? Have you forgotten my identity?
Mr. Yu waved his hand impatiently.
No need to thank me. I'm just a friend of your father. It's my duty to help you. Besides, it's also for my own sake.
After he finished speaking, his heart suddenly moved and his face revealed a look of shock. He looked in the direction of the west of the city as if all the buildings here could not block his eyes and he could see through the layers of space.
This is a swan and I, what a strong positive yang qi, that light is dense.
Mr. Yu's face twisted in disbelief and shock. He lost his composure and shouted, a divine body phenomenon. The divine body phenomenon of the 9 yang body. Shenfeng's body trembled as he said in horror.
9 yang divine body? Did teacher see wrongly?
Mr. Yu's body was also trembling in his black robe. He couldn't calm himself down. He gritted his teeth and said,
I can't be wrong. The one who killed 3 kings of our tribe and trapped our tribe under the 5-cloud mountain for nearly 1,000 years was Gu Qingqing, the 19th palace master of Shenxiao Palace and the one who has the 9 yang real body. My race has a detailed description of this kind of physique.
A black light flashed across his face, and his eyes exploded with a strong sense of ruthlessness. He said,
I can't believe that 1,000 years later, this kind of divine body will appear again. Is there really no way for our clan to rise again?
Shenfeng's expression was not good either. He said in a deep voice,
The aura is coming from the new mercenary group's 8th team. Could it be the new captain?
Mr. Yu said.
It's fine if he's a man, he won't be able to practice the 9 yang true technique of Shenxiao Palace. However, if it was a woman.
A cold killing intent burst out from his eyes, and he shouted.
We must kill her.
Shenfeng's heart skipped a beat as he watched Mr. Yu's figure disappear from the hall. He said indifferently.
I'll leave the matter of the soul-splitting spine to you. Leave the 9 yang divine body to me. We can't mess with Feng Zijie for now, let the newbie mercenary group cause a scene in the west of the city.
Shenfeng also knew that this was a serious matter, and his eyes revealed a determined look before he disappeared from the main hall.